This episode of Film Riot is brought to you by Fable 3 and the Xbox 360. It's a revolution, so order the game now. And the HP DV7T with Beats Audio, and the smart Intel Core i5 processor.
Today on Film Riot, we're back, and I can't tell you how excited Josh and Bruno are.
Bam, take it up tonight. Bam, show 'em what you got. Bam, make the earthquake. Bam, make the moon shake. Hey, hey, get it. Hey, hey, get it. Hey, hey, get it. Hey, hey, hey. I'm from K-A-double-N-A-B. None of y'all dudes can mess with me. Thugged out brother on Hennessy. All G, we control the tricks with the lob seat. Do a drive by and drop seat. Cause we won't pass you die in the streets. Cause us brothers got to eat. Bam, take it up tonight. Bam, show 'em what you got. Bam, make the earthquake. Bam, make the moon shake. Hey, hey, get it. Hey, hey, get it. Hey, hey, get it. Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah, they're excited to be back. Welcome to Film Riot, the show that takes the mystery out of the effects and techniques of going to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley. So we're back, and it feels good. I missed you guys. But we did have a really good 1 month vacation, did lots of stuff. Like for instance, I got married, then I honeymooned in Colorado, I went on a hike, fought a grizzly bear when he shot at obscenities at my wife, then I saw snow, made a snowman, fought the abominable snowman when he made a pass at my wife, then flew back to Florida, moved my wife in, bench pressed a car, and then realized it was dirty and had it washed. You guys are doing really good, but you missed a spot there.
This is so degrading.
So that was my month. But today we're talking about computer animation. Ever since the war episode, people have been asking us non-stop if we're going to show how we did the tank and jets, even though I said this at the end of the last episode. And as you probably saw, we had some CGI elements in the opening sketch, and we are going to be touching upon that. So our first episode back, we're going to be talking about the integration between live action video and CGI elements. It looks like some of you might need a tall glass to pay attention. Face! But anyway, let's get into it. And by it, I mean this. And this. Which reminds me of something else we did on our 1 month break. We took the war short film, upgraded all the sound effects, and added an alternate ending, which was supposed to be the original ending, but we ran out of time. Then we posted that video as an independent clip on YouTube. So if you're interested, go to our YouTube channel and check it out. Anyway, back to this. Which was made by someone new to the Film Riot team, which is our resident 3D pro and mad scientist, Michael Stark. Say hi, Mike. He's shy. First of all, we didn't model the tank or the jets. We didn't have enough time for that. So instead, we bought the models we needed from a site called evermotion.org, which is a place you can go to buy pre-modeled stuff for 3D. Another great and possibly better site you can go to buy models is called turbosquid.com, but both are pretty good. Anyway, once you got your models, now you're gonna need your footage to place the models in. When I was shooting for each of the 3 effect shots, I had in mind what the end result would be, mainly meaning where the model would be in the frame. That way I could shoot at an angle that would make it easiest for compositing. So I tried to stay away from things that would be really hard to mask out, like plants. But once I was done taking my footage, Stark stepped in to get an environment picture, or HDRI, in the exact place that the tank would be, which he did by taking a reflective Christmas ornament and then taking a close-up picture of it to get the reflections of the surrounding area. Now there are tools made just for this purpose, but we didn't have one and we didn't want to spend the money on it, so any super reflective orb would do just fine. Next, we brought our footage into 3D Studio Max and used Match Mover to track our footage. Now for all the programs we're using here, you can find alternatives like for instance, instead of using 3D Studio Max, you could use Cinema 4D or Blender, which is a free open source program. And for tracking, you could use Synthesize, PF Track, or another freebie, Voodoo VooCat Camera Tracker. Or if you have a ridiculously rich uncle that thinks of you more of a son, maybe you could finagle 10K out of him and get Boju. Yes, it really costs that much.
This is how I be pimping like a pimp.
Homemade lemonade.
Pimping like a pimp.
Once you finish your 3D tracking, it's time to export your camera data to the correct format and then import to your 3D program of choice, making sure that all of your settings match up. Resolution, frame rate, etc. I am still in vacation mode, man. I'm gonna take a break.
This is nice.
Fable 3 is the latest installment in the critically acclaimed Xbox exclusive Fable franchise. 5 decades have passed since the events of Fable 2, and Albion has matured into an industrial revolution. But the fate of the kingdom is at peril. Embark on an epic adventure where the race for the crown is only half your spectacular journey. The revolution has begun, so order now. Logo. So we have our footage and our 3D models, and we tracked our footage, then brought our camera data into our 3D program. So now it's time to bring the 3D models and the footage into the 3D program as well. And since we're going for the real world look, make sure you're working with real world units of measure. That way light will react as it does in real life. Next, we added a sun and sky system that will simulate the real world sun. Then we added a dome and apply the environment texture to it so our model will get realistic reflections from our location. Next is animation, which is pretty straightforward using keyframes. But once you're done with that, it's time to go to rendering, which is a complete and total bastard all into itself, with too many specifics to go into here. But generally, you just want to make sure all your settings are again correct. The right frame rate, the right pixel resolution, and that the length matches the length of the original footage. Then once you're done with all that, render away. Next, it's time for compositing, which we did in After Effects. So bring all your footage into After Effects and create a new comp. Then put your model layer above the layer of your footage. Now we added an extra layer of plants above our tank layer to help further sell the effect that the tank was actually in that environment, but we'll get to that in more detail elsewhere, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. After our step before the final step, which is color correcting your 3D model to match your original footage. And that leads into your final step, which is the overall color correction of all the assets as a whole, which will tie everything together and give you this. Some 3D and live action love making. Now the tanks and the jets are all pretty much done in the same way, and you can do it in any program. This is just a basic how-to overall. So, not overalls, but
This is nice.
the HP Pavilion DV7T, powered by the smart Intel Core i5 processor, delivers a great combination of fast, smart performance, productivity, and entertainment. It comes with Beats Audio for outstanding digital music playback and is equipped with a 17.3-inch diagonal HD screen. It's like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, but in computer form. But it's super high tech, so maybe you could make your own woman like in Weird Science. But probably not. But with a built-in subwoofer optimized for unbelievably great studio quality sound, Intel Core processor family for faster, smarter performance, brilliant HP display, True Vision webcam for crystal clear chat, and a brushed aluminum case, who needs anything else? And we've reached the end of our first episode back in the saddle. But there's more for you still. 3D is a very in-depth process with way more steps than we were able to get to in this episode. This was basically just an overview of how we did it. But the man behind it all, Stark, has put together an in-depth tutorial that will walk you through the entire process. And we've uploaded that exclusively to our YouTube page. So if you're interested, jump over to our YouTube page and continue learning some 3D goodness. But if you still have any 3D questions, you can always send them to Stark on his Twitter page. Well, that's not going to get the people to like you. Anyway, you can follow him at mstarktv. You can also follow me on Twitter at Ryan_Conley. And if you don't Twitter, you could always sync up with us on our Facebook page. But I'll see you lovely peoples next Thursday.
Like old times.
What?
Like
Like what?
You said we'll see you next Thursday, like old times.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd you walk out and come back in?
What?
Why'd you walk out and come back in?
Because you were talking to me.
Yeah, but I'm not in the camera. You could have talked to me outside of...
What?
Just a thought. Don't walk away from me.
What?
Uh,